My name is Zach Alter. Very happy to be here. I'm the head of sales at Jukin Media, here with Greg Groggel from the Olympic Channel. In a bit, Greg will talk about the Olympic Channel, what they're doing, and our work together. But I want to begin by talking a bit about Jukin and how we fit in this larger sort of brand storytelling ecosystem. And I want to start by talking about two macro trends that we are all seeing in sort of the larger world. First, there is a crisis of authenticity. Really positive and uplifting start for us here, but I promise this is like a beat you down and then build you back up situation. We'll end on a high note. But it's true, right? There is this fake news climate that sort of started, I guess, politically or in the political realm, but has really started to creep into our media institutions, our business institutions, and how consumers view brands. And if you don't believe me, I have numbers to back it up. So Edelman every year does a study, and they have a trust barometer, and it's a measure or a metric that measures consumer trust. And in 2018, 42% of consumers said they don't know what companies to trust. That's scary, right? That's like almost half of consumers don't know, and frankly, that's a problem. Now, the second trend that we're talking about, we think, luckily, is part of the solution, or can be part of the solution to that problem, and it's best summed up in two images. Who was at Coachella, anybody, in 2007? Anybody? And did you also have like a really awesome flip phone, right? And that is going to undoubtedly be the worst picture ever. And they're gonna send that to their friends, and all their friends will be like, I have no idea what I'm looking at, because they're also looking at it on a screen that's this big. But that's what Coachella was in 2007. This is what Coachella was in 2017. Game has changed. It's a dramatically different story, right? And this idea is real, that on a daily basis, all of us, everybody in this room, we are capturing and sharing the content that we are creating. This is trustworthy content. It's authentic content, and it's relatable content because it's from your peers, whether it's something that you see has been posted on Facebook and you don't know the person, or something that your niece or nephew or brother or sister or friend sent you. This is the content that we can all relate to. 57% of all digital video, this says since 2005, but let's just call it 57% of all digital video, has been uploaded in the last 2 years. Now, that's not driven by professional filmmakers, primarily by professional filmmakers and media companies and brands. So there's certainly part of it, but it's driven by people like you and I, not as professionals, but as individuals. This is how we tell stories. This is today's storytelling, is what we are creating and sharing on a daily basis. And so at Jukin, we believe that the future of storytelling is user-generated. So for almost a decade now, on a daily basis across the world, we are finding and curating and distributing compelling stories that are made by us, that are made by real people. It's not influencers, it's not commissioned content. It's videos of your kids, your dogs, your vacations, your concerts, brand storytelling, skiing down the mountain. How many people went skiing today or did something outside today? How many people took a video of that or a picture of that? Exactly. And how many people took the video and posted the one of them wiping out? Anybody? No. See, we're all very curated in that regard. So I can talk to you about this all you want, or all I want, and I can go long, trust me, but they've got a clock up here somewhere. So let me just show you what this content looks like.
You can look at him. Oh my God! Are you pregnant?
This is unbelievable.
streaming.
Is this for real?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, oh my god, yes!
Yes!
Thank you. Obviously, I did all the editing work. But it's real people, real content, real emotions. And so how we work with brands quickly, UGC is a social language. And so we help brands speak that social language and become part of that conversation. And we've got 10 years of expertise in understanding this content. And that's helped us build one of the most watched media companies in the world. So as sort of before I turn it over to Greg, I want to introduce you to 5 properties that we own and operate that reach 170 million fans and 4 billion video views a month. Jukin Video and Poke My Heart, Fail Army and the Pet Collective, and what we'll talk about today is our largest brand called People Are Awesome. It's ordinary people doing extraordinary things. You've seen it on social, you've seen it on CTV. It'll make your jaw drop, it'll really make you feel like you've accomplished very little in your life. But in reality, it's a celebration of achievement. Athletic and artistic, all ages, genders, from all corners of the world. And when you think about those words and those phrases, there's no other brand, institution, or organization that embodies that more than the Olympics and the Olympic Channel. Because I obviously am very good at segues, that's my cue to turn it over to Greg to talk more about the Olympic Channel and what they're doing, and I'm going to very quickly and nonchalantly give that to him.
All right. All right, guys. So the Olympic Channel. About 2.5 years ago, we launched the Olympic Channel right after the Rio Olympics with a very clear mission, which was to bring young people into the Olympic movement. And with that mandate from the IOC president, Thomas Bach, we set up a global multi-platform digital network. And when we started making content and trying to reach that audience, we essentially were all things Olympic, right? That's a really broad scope. And we were creating content about the Olympians, about the countries, about the sports. We were doing a little bit of everything. And the challenge with trying to do a little bit of everything, as you guys know, you guys are marketers, is that you're almost nothing, right? And it's hard to have a message of who you are to your audience. It's hard to have that understanding internally within your staff, with the brands that you're working with. And essentially, we didn't really have a clear answer to who we were. We were trying to be a sports brand. We were trying to be a lifestyle brand. We were trying to do fitness. We were trying to do everything. And the good thing about trying to do everything is that you get to test a lot, right? So we tested and learned. And at the end of the first year, kind of had a little bit of like an aha moment. And that was when we released this series called Identify, and it profiled transgender athletes. So these young transgender athletes we're looking at, they didn't want to give up their sport, right? Because for them, that was who they were. And they were trying to be their best self through sports. And if you haven't seen the series, it's amazing. These are really inspirational stories. There's a swimmer from Harvard who was recruited to Harvard as a female swimmer, and then at Harvard transitioned and now is on the male team. And has the scars and everything, made a full transition. Skylar Baylor, just amazing stories. But what was interesting for that to us, because it did really well for us, our audience really liked it, we saw a lot of engagement. It won a Webby Award at the end of the year. The interesting thing was that there was no Olympic footage in it, and none of the athletes featured were Olympians. But for some reason, it felt Olympic. Like everything that you love about the Olympics, that we love, why our brands love, and some of our top sponsors are here, it had those ingredients. So we kind of took a step back and said, interesting, this is interesting. Maybe we're focusing on the wrong things. Maybe instead of focusing too much on the sports, we need to focus on what the clear value proposition is of the Olympics. And that is the Olympic values. So the nice thing about working with an 120-year organization is that there are clear values. And these aren't just buzzwords. These are in the DNA of the company. And so it's taken a little bit of a shift, but we've realized we need to be a values-based brand. And then if that's who we want to become, then we need to start looking at how do we get there, and how are we getting there right now. So it's not only the stories we're telling internally, but it's also who are we going to bring on to collaborate with, to tell stories for us, and to help articulate who we want to be, and articulate that message to our target audience, which is that younger generation. And that's what led us to Jukin Media. And that's what led us to People Are Awesome. So in this collaboration with Jukin Media, there's 3 components. Just quickly go through them. There's short form original series, there's UGC compilations, and there's content amplification. So they're creating new content for us that's in that vein of those values of friendship, respect, excellence. But they're also amplifying the content that we're creating elsewhere that also has those values. And then what's interesting, that UGC that you saw, like, hopefully it made you feel something. And that's what we want to do. We want to inspire our audiences. And that's what we feel like the Olympics does. You guys all hit the slopes today. And if I asked you, who won gold in the downhill last year at the Pyeongchang Olympics in the women's downhill, I don't think there's a single person in here who could name that athlete. If you can, talk to me afterwards, I'll give you a prize. But I'm pretty sure that no one can. I'm pretty sure, though, that everyone remembers the great moments of those games, of the North and South Korea going together, the Nigerian bobsled team. We remember those moments. So it's trying to say, like, we want to take this idea of being Olympic, and we want to apply that to everyday people. And so doing that with a partner like this through UGC is a great way to reach that, because you can take everyday people and say, you can be Olympic too. You can live these values. It doesn't just have to be the Olympians, the best in the world. So with that said, I think we're going to just play a short clip of a new original series that Jukin has produced for us. Because it's not just like looking ahead to the next big spot. It's not just creating like, a huge campaign that's going to play at the next Olympics in Tokyo 2020. It's really articulating who we are every day to our audience and reaching them where they consume content. And I think that's where this collaboration is so valuable, because it's really in the DNA of their company, and that's who we're trying to become as well.
It's gonna break. It's gonna break. Hey, I'm Olympic gold medalist Lori Hernandez. And it's time to level up. Oh no. Oh, he's not gonna make it. He made it! That's crazy! I'm like, can I have a few extra mats on the floor if I'm ever tumbling or anything? I'm good. Thanks. Ooh. Oh, that was so good! At first I got scared, because sometimes if you have that little sagging motion in your back handspring, then a lot of times that means that you're a little bit tired or your shoulders aren't strong enough to kind of hold you up. So when you sag like that, sometimes that's like running into your skills like this. You just kind of know that it may work. But she nailed it. Look at her go. That was amazing. Oh, I wasn't ready for that. That sucks. There's no other fear than trusting the equipment and then the equipment fails you. That's like the ultimate. That's like an untrust fall. Oh, little pumpkin. Oh, she's so good. Who is she? I want to give her a hug. Big cookies with her. I don't know how old she is, but she looks really young, and like her form was perfect and everything. I wish my form looked like that at her age. Oh, I'm so happy for her. Good job, Peanut. Oh no, this is bad. This is gonna be bad. I called it. I called it.
Not bad.
Oh,
Rescue dog! What?
Okay, first of all, dogs make everything better. We love dogs. I knew it was gonna go wrong by the way that she ran into it. We go like full send or like go for it. Like you always have to go full out. And when someone runs like this, you know it's just not gonna work. But she tried, and that's all that matters. Now she has sand everywhere. Holy moly. What he did was nuts. That was beautiful. My knees could not handle that, but I can do like cut that tumbling pass in half and I think I'm good. But that was stunning. What's he doing? No, that's gonna be bad. It's gonna break. It's gonna break. I called it. What? Why would you swing around pipes? That was cool. He did a flip. Oh, what? That little yell at the end, she's got that little like, yeah! That's what I do when I nail something. We could be twinsies. We should be friends. Oh, she's strong. Yep. that little smile at the end. That was so cool. I used to be able to bend my back like that when I was a little kid, and then now I can't really bend like that anymore. That was such good form. She's going places. My advice for young gymnasts out there is to not give up when it gets really hard. There are going to be moments where maybe you're growing, maybe you have growing pains, maybe you have actual injuries, maybe there's a skill that you really just don't want to try, and that's absolutely okay. All Olympians get mental blocks, and that happens. We get scared too. You're not alone, that's totally normal. Even if you fall as hard as the people in those clips that I just watched, in order to perfect it, you have to try it again. So keep an open mind and keep your feet on the ground. Listen to those around you, you'll be just fine.
That's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.